Hello, welcome to Speech Language with Miss Holly. I'm wearing green today because the topic of today's speech language video lesson is Earth Day. So let's go ahead and get started. So the skill that we're going to be working on today is cause and effect. And first I wanted to say welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. We're going to start off with an article, reading through to get a sense of what Earth Day really is. Then we'll also dive through some scenarios, look at this thing called cause and effect. And that's where one thing happens, and as a result, another thing happens. So let's go ahead and get started with this article here. Earth Day is celebrated in April. This week, as I'm recording it, it's Wednesday, April 22nd. And millions of people think of ways that they can celebrate the Earth. So how can we stop pollution? How can we recycle more, plant more trees? How can we save energy and water? These are all ways to keep on taking care of the Earth. People have been celebrating Earth Day since 1970. So if we do the math, that's 2020 minus 1970. It's 50 years of Earth Day. It was started by a United States Senator from Wisconsin, and his name was Gaylord Nelson. He was worried about the damage being done to the planet, so instead he wanted to think of ways to protect the Earth. But many people think that every day should be Earth Day, and we can always work to stop and clean up the land and the water. So some suggestions that they have for taking care of the Earth are: don't be a litter bug. So instead of throwing trash on the ground, you can pick it up and put it where it belongs. So that might be a trash can or a recycling bin. I also suggest recycling. So some objects can be put through a special process and then used again. There's also thinking about our trees, so reducing our use of paper and planting trees. Their other suggestions are not wasting water and saving energy. So, with all of that in mind, there are lots of ways we can help keep our planet healthy. So now we get to think about our actions and how they're causes and then they have effects on the world around us. So this first one, let's practice it together. You're in a hurry when you leave for your house for school and the lights rarely get turned off. So can you imagine leaving your lights on all day when you're at school? What would some effects be from that? So the first thing that I might think of, if we leave the lights on all day, then we're going to use way more energy and electricity than we need to. So wasting energy, electricity too. Then that also leads me to think if we leave our lights on all day, then our electricity bills are going to get more expensive. So they're going to shoot up. Can you think of any other effects of leaving the lights on all day? Maybe our light bulbs would burn out too. Burn out. So this was the cause, and these were some of the effects. Now let's try that again. So let's say that your yard is sprayed with chemicals to kill dandelions. So you've got a bunch of weeds growing. Somebody comes along and they spray a bunch of chemicals on that. What would some effects be? Well, the weeds might die. Yeah. But maybe some of the plants that weren't as harmful would also die. So other plants might die. What about maybe the animals that live around those plants or the bugs that depend on those plants? Maybe the animals or bugs would be impacted. Bugs? What would happen to them? So we can think about some of the effects of these actions here. All right, let's keep going. Let's say you empty a jar of your favorite pickles, and instead of throwing it in the trash, you recycle it. So, doesn't go in the trash, you put it in the recycling, what would be an effect of recycling it? Sounds to me like there would be less waste going to a place where all the trash goes, in the landfill. So that'd be less waste in the landfill, and instead that jar could be turned into something else useful. So recycled jar turned into something else, something new. So that's an effect there. It's turning into something new. Let's say you organize a cleanup day in your community. What would be an effect of that? I know around me sometimes we have trash on the streets, and so our streets might look cleaner. Sometimes animals accidentally eat trash thinking that it's food. And so if our communities are cleaned up, then the animals around here would be healthier too. So healthier animals. All right, those are some pretty cool effects of having a cleanup day. All right, so now we've done a few together. I have even more down here below. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause it on each page, and you'll have a chance to read through it and practice it on your own. So if you think of at least 2 effects for each of these, you can pause, practice it on your own, and then press play to move on to the next set. All right, nice work. Here's our next set here. You can think of a few different effects for each of these scenarios. All right, and once you're done with all of this, you can think, how did that feel? Was it really easy? Was it really hard? Was it somewhere in the middle? You can also think about how my actions and your actions and everybody who lives on planet Earth has an effect with the things that we do. So our actions are so powerful. We get to think about it in terms of that cause and effect. So I hope you have a happy Earth Day, and I will see you next time.